What's up, people? I hope you're doing well. No, you're not hallucinating. Yes, I'm wearing glasses, and that's because I just don't feel like putting my contacts in today. I might do this more often. We're getting closer to the most wonderful time of the year, but we're not there yet. We still have to deal with shit stains like this first. Actually, we have to deal with shit stains during the holidays, too. This video is going to be another one of my little rants. I saw on YouTube that Tucker Carlson was interviewing a musician, and I tuned in to see if I could learn anything. I learned at least one thing, that the lead singer from the band Stained, Aaron Lewis, is a bit of a douche canoe. I've heard Stained's music before, and you probably have too, because they had a hit song called It's Been a While. There are 3 things that I wanted to touch on in this video, and they go from mild to a little bit wild. Here's the first one.
How has country music changed itself as a genre?
I don't really recognize country music anymore.
Really?
Well, what's playing on the radio? How do you draw a line from what's on the radio now and called country music to what was on the radio when we were kids called country music? There's no line to be drawn.
I listen to Bluegrass Junction, so this is all this is all outside my world. But
for sure,
tell me how it's changed.
It's been infiltrated by California, just like everything else.
Ooh, really?
When within my career, about halfway through it, everything changed in the industry, and a lot of consolidation happened. A lot of people lost their jobs at whatever record label they were at, or they were in the top 40 side of things, and everything got condensed and they lost their... Well, they all either went to Nashville or they went to country radio. And I truly believe that that has something to do with why country has become so popified, where it's like the land of the misfit toys, where it's not really country, it's not really pop. It kind of rides right down the middle of it and becomes its own thing. And they should call it its own thing. It should have its own genre and classification. And instead they call it country. And I don't know how you can put George Jones and Merle Haggard in the same sentence as Morgan Wallen or the Rascal Flatts. I mean, how do you even... How does that correlate? How does that fall into the same category? Because it doesn't in any way to me.
Which is better?
Country.
Yeah.
We have pop music. I think pop music with a country twang is a little weird.
Infiltrated by California, just like everything else. Why do people have to inject politics into everything these days? We get it, Aaron. You hate everything having to do with anything that's not conservative. Music isn't a monolith. Music evolves over time. Those gosh darn liberals didn't infiltrate country music. It's still being produced in the same places it always was. There was no grand scheme to change traditional country music where you like drinking moonshine and hitting your women into some soy boy gathering where they transform into gay frogs. You can also have your opinion, but when you start to say traditional country music is better than modern country music that's pop infused, then you're just being a purist that doesn't like anything to change. Music has evolved. There's nothing wrong with that. It doesn't take anything away from traditional country music. It's been around for a long time and it's not going anywhere. And some people see country music the same way because it evolved out of numerous types of music, including the blues, British folk music, Mexican and Irish music, and a few others. I'm sure there were purists in those genres who thought that what we call traditional country music was shit and that their pure music was better. I wouldn't even be responding in this way if he didn't say traditional country music was better. People can like what they like and they don't need you telling them that it's shit when it's all subjective anyway. I used to do that when I was like 17 years old, but then I grew up. I used to say it about hardcore metal or deathcore music where they scream into a mic. It's not my thing, but tons of people love it. To each their own. Then he goes on to mention a couple of artists in the pop country category, including Rascal Flatts, who I love, and he didn't come out and just insult them, but he did seem to imply that what they and others are doing is shit. Should it be called something else? I mean, I guess we have a million different subgenres already, so what's one more, I guess? Besides, Rascal Flatts and others are labeled under different genres. All you have to do is some research, Aaron, and you would know that Rascal Flatts falls under traditional country, country pop, and country rock. That's probably just how his brain works, though, and it's definitely connected to his politics. I hate when people have to make everything about politics. They tie every opinion back to it, and it's exhausting. Those are people I don't like being around because they can't just live in the moment. You can be talking about chocolate pudding, and they'll somehow connect it with some tired-ass political argument. It's just funny to me that an artist that made his way in the industry through rock music and being derivative of everything that came before him has this opinion. Plus, even Aaron Lewis's new music is labeled under country rock and alternative country. You can't make this shit up. He's been solo since 2012, and his first 4 albums are labeled as alternative country and country rock. His most recent album in 2024 is the only one labeled as just straight up country. There's much more to what he says in the interview, and I don't disagree with him on some things, and I'll link it in the description if you want to watch the whole thing, because he does make some good points about the industry, but they're few and far in between. It's almost a 2-hour interview, so I definitely can only show you a few snippets. All right, so moving on to the second topic I wanted to address.
How has Spotify changed it?
I'm a Spotify billionaire. I have over 1 billion spins on Spotify. If I only had a penny for every spin on Spotify, that would be fantastic. $1, a quarter, a penny from every spin, with over 1 billion spins on Spotify. All I have is a plaque.
Well, you never got paid?
It's so... By the time Spotify plays it, there's so many people in the middle. I don't even think a penny comes my way, to be honest with you.
For 1 billion spins, you made no money?
I don't think so. That's not how Spotify works.
Well, how does it work?
I'm not sure. I just know that it cuts a lot of people in on my financial stream. That's all I know. And
a lot of people who are not you.
Right. That once again aren't the creatives, and they're the ones making all the money.
So you think
they were creative in how they came up with something to get into somebody else's money stream.
What's called creative accounting, which is a form of creativity, long unrecognized in the West.
I would call it being a leech, but
yeah, I would say the same. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. It's a cliche for a reason, because it's pretty good advice, but sometimes it's not true. Cell phones are a glaring exception. You've got your cell phone, you've had it for years, you don't change. Sometimes your cell phone battery life fades, or maybe your processor can't keep up, but your phone is bound to run into trouble eventually, no matter what the problem is, and replacing it early is much better and often far cheaper than replacing it too late. Enter Pure Talk. This month, if you switch to a qualifying $35 plan, $35, Pure Talk will give you a Samsung Galaxy A36 completely free, literally free. Just $35 a month for talk, text, and data, and you get to restart your phone life cycle without paying for a brand new device. So it's a scam-free deal, all on America's most dependable 5G network. It's like a cell phone that works as well as any other. It's just way cheaper, and they're not scamming you. So switching is a win for everybody. You save money on your cell phone bill. Pure Talk grows to hire more Americans to support more veterans, which it does. So go to puretalk.com/Tucker to get your free phone today. That's puretalk.com/Tucker to switch to our wireless company. It's America's wireless company. It's Pure Talk. That's amazing to me.
It's
1 billion plays more than, and you don't get paid.
I might have. It certainly wasn't enough for me to notice, whoa, where the hell did all this money come from in my bank account? Oh, I got spun over 1 billion times on Spotify. That's why. No, do I know for sure that no money came in? No, but
if you don't remember, then obviously
it's minuscule comparatively speaking.
Come on. I'm supposed to believe he's made no money from streaming, having over 1 billion streams? Over 1 billion streams brings in anywhere from like 3 million to 5 million, according to everything I saw. I know he wouldn't get all of it, and I know record labels take a huge chunk, and he's not lying about that. But even if he got 10%, that's anywhere from $300,000 to $500,000. Even if it was just 5%, does that go to paying in advance from his label? I don't know. It's possible. That's not nothing, like he said, though, and the advance is still payment. He said all he has is a plaque and that he doesn't even think a penny comes his way, to be honest. Then Tucker asks, for 1 billion spins, you didn't make any money? And he says, that's not how Spotify works. And when asked how it works, he says he's not sure. And then right after that, he goes on to say, maybe I did get something, but it wasn't enough for me to notice. That's complete bullshit. He couldn't be more dishonest. That man is lying right through his teeth. Well, Tucker, that's not how Spotify works. How does Spotify work, Aaron? I don't know. I know everything yet nothing. Fucking clown. He's so full of shit I could see it pouring out of his mouth. And then Tucker just laughs like some girl in Thailand tickled his nutsack and told him she loves him while she's grabbing dollars out of his wallet. She really loves me. He doesn't call him out at all on walking back what he said. And then Aaron goes on to say, I'm not complaining. Alright, so every artist has a right to complain because yes, record labels are horrible when it comes to paying artists. Streaming services are horrible when it comes to paying artists. But it's not the complaining I have the issue with. I don't think I would believe most of what comes out of Aaron Lewis's mouth. Like I said, he made some good points about the industry, but this man probably tells the truth 10% of the time and then spews bullshit the other 90% of the time his mouth is open. All right, on to the final thing I wanted to talk about.
So, if you had to pair a musician with these two kinds of upland bird hunting, you'd say Bruce Springsteen, who's the representative of America's working man.
Oh yeah, totally.
Would be a grouse hunter.
I would put him as my representation any day.
Do you know Bruce Springsteen?
No, thankfully.
What do you think of him?
I think that he is a disgusting display of not appreciating what was handed to him in this country as being an American, the success that he has had. The fact that he duped us all with one of the most anti-American songs ever and called it Born in the U.S.A. as some sort of celebration of how great it is to be born in the USA. I'm angry at myself for not seeing it for so long and actually giving him, in my mind, the credit of being a representation of blue-collar America. I think that he has forgotten where he came from.
Yep.
I think that if you're not careful doing this career that me and him have both been so blessed to have had, if you're not careful, it will consume you. And it's obvious that it creates a situation where you've lost sight of the reality of the country that you live in because you've lived such a cush you've had so much. You have so much that it's really easy to take a stance that is so anti everything that you were lucky enough to have, lucky enough to create, lucky enough to change your situation in life. And he just lost touch with the struggles. He's lost touch with the struggle. And it seems like most people who have lost touch with the true struggle of life, those are the people that vote for these fucking idiots. Those are the people that feel like they have to virtue signal. Those are the people that somewhere along the way they feel guilty for the success that they have had, so they somehow have to make it up with this nonsensical bullshit.
All right, so this is just because they're on opposite ends of the spectrum politically. Aaron Lewis says he doesn't even know Springsteen, thankfully, like it's a flex. It just makes him look childish and like an idiot that judges the man by not even knowing him. You can disagree politically, but this seems like a personal issue without even personally knowing him. I'm not even a fanboy of Springsteen. Do I think he represents the working man? No, not really. Those days are long gone. Not at this point in his career, but maybe Lewis should be asking himself who he supports in politics that does represent the working man. I'm pretty sure it's nobody who Lewis is willingly ball cuddling with. Then he goes on to say that Springsteen is a disgusting display of not appreciating what was handed to him as being an American and his success he's had, and that he duped us all with one of the most anti-American songs ever and called it Born in the U.S.A., and that it was some sort of celebration about how it is to be born in the U.S.A. He's angry he didn't see it before and that he saw him as a representation of blue-collar America. First of all, how do you know what Springsteen appreciates? You're not in his mind. You're completely basing that shit strictly off of him having a different political opinion than you. And look, I don't like either party. I think they're all a bunch of shady crooks looking out for themselves and corporations, but just because Springsteen supports one side doesn't mean you know what he appreciates about the career and opportunities he's had. Secondly, Springsteen wrote Born in the USA in 1984. That's almost 42 years ago. And it's always been a protest song about the Vietnam War and how the vets were treated when they came back to the U.S., both by citizens and the government. Because you felt duped not knowing what it was really about has nothing to do with Springsteen tricking anyone. I think he's been very clear what that song has been about for a long time. If you read or actually listened to the lyrics, you would have gotten the vibe and knew. You're judging the man on his politics and him supporting politicians you hate in 2025 and juxtapositioning that with the protest song he wrote 42 years ago that you didn't understand, thinking that he betrayed you all this time. It's fine you don't like the guy because of who he supports. Alright, you think they're bad for the country. Hell, I think they're all bad for the country. But for you to see that and try to tie it into a protest song from 42 years ago that you were too dumb to see was a protest song and try to paint him as un-American because of it, you sound like a fucking child. Aaron Lewis likes to portray himself as a red, white, and blue boy, but guess what? Writing a protest song or protesting about an atrocity where not only your own people are getting fucked over, but other citizens of the world are getting fucked over as well is as red, white, and blue as it gets. I hope Lewis doesn't figure out what the song Fortunate Son is about. That one might make him throw out his Creedence Clearwater Revival American flag t-shirt. It's funny how a lot of these people that claim to be against the government lick their damn boots every chance they get. The consensus is out, Aaron Lewis. Most people see the Vietnam War for what it was. An unjust clusterfuck, and how our government and our own people treated the veterans that were lucky enough to come home was shameful. Sticking up for those veterans and never wanting some shit like that to happen again is as American as apple pie. And then he goes on to spout some unfocused idiotic drivel that has nothing to do with anything. I don't even think Aaron Lewis knows what the fuck he's saying. I'm trying to figure out if Aaron Lewis is just fucking stupid or an asshole, but he's probably both. So it's no surprise to me why Aaron Lewis fell out of favor in the music industry. In just this one interview, he seems to be acting like a victim, insulting his peers, and also insulting non-traditional genres of country music, while trying to profit from those same genres and being an outsider himself. He also comes off as a massive liar and just a hateful person. It's ironic because after the clips I showed you here, Aaron Lewis goes on to talk about how other people have a victimhood mentality to make themselves feel better about their lives. There were some other points in this interview where I rolled my eyes, but I really don't want to get into the weeds with it. Aaron Lewis has a history of being abrasive, especially with injecting his politics into everything. But this isn't about his politics. I couldn't care less about his politics. But you don't need to express your politics every chance you get. I think he's inventing shit in his head to justify his downfall in the industry. Oh, it's my politics that people don't like, and that's why I'm not where I should be anymore. Maybe people just don't want to deal with you because you're a powder keg that's going to blow up everything in the area, including them. Maybe country fans just don't like your stuff. Maybe they don't like that you started writing country late in your career, and they think you're a poser or a grifter looking to just make a buck. I mean, you're from Massachusetts and started in a rock band. Maybe they just don't like you and your bullshit. There are artists today that are doing fine and express their conservative views all the time. He mentioned one in the interview on Morgan Wallen. He's very popular right now despite being very vocal about his conservative views. There's a huge market for conservatives that eat all of that shit up, but you're telling me it's just you that can't gain traction? You had a whole damn leg in the door already, too. Maybe Don Henley does have some competition. Well, I know Don Henley has some competition. There isn't a shortage of assholes in the industry just like everywhere else. Anyway, that was just a rant I wanted to get out. Lewis is someone who seems to just rub people the wrong way. I'm from New York, alright? So trust me, I understand not giving a shit what people think about me and saying what I need to say, but there's a line, and Aaron Lewis seems to not give a shit about crossing it. I guess there are some people that love him, and that's fine, I guess. So let me know how you feel about Aaron Lewis and what he said in the comments. Alright, I'll see you next week with a new video.